Hello, friends. Continuing with our episodes on strategy, today we are going to get into a little more detail about how one goes about building a strategy. In the last episode, we just looked at the general comments, observations, things to remember when building a strategy. Today, we're going to lay out a little more formal and stepwise procedure on how to build a strategy. When you're building a strategy, there are different aspects of your business that you need to consider. And therefore, a strategy is a combination of sub-strategies that you will create for each of those aspects of business. And to begin with, I think the first aspect that one needs to look at and remember is that you need to first build a business strategy. So what is a business strategy? A business strategy is where you define your objectives of why you are in business, what business are you in, and you have to make sure that that objectives keep all the stakeholders in mind. You need to be able to satisfy every stakeholder. You need to be sure that you have the people, you have the organization structured well, and the management capabilities to run the business as you have just visualized. And you need to be well aware of what are the physical resources available to you. What are the physical assets that are available to you? Do you have the capability to first manufacture or create what product you're talking of? And then do you have the capability, again, to make sure that you can manufacture that on a commercial basis? At times, it's very easy to make a prototype. But then when it comes to scaling up production, you have challenges. So you need to be sure that you have the capabilities and the resources that are required to fulfill the business objectives. And you need to make sure that your cash flow, because most startups, at least that I know of, and a lot of businesses cannot scale up or do not grow without, or if they grow, they get into serious challenges, is because of cash flow issues. So you need to make sure and plan that your cash flow is going to be there, depending on when you are expecting revenues and hence profits. So you need to study your cash flow requirements and your profits before finalizing your strategy. You need, as a business strategy, to know what price you are going to offer the product, how you are going to position and place your product, how you're going to promote your product, because without all of this, your consumer doesn't know you exist. So although you might have a great product, but if the consumer doesn't know that such a product is there, available for their use, then what is the point? So you need to have a proper positioning, a proper place on how you're going to sell it, whether it is on the net or in a brick and mortar store. How are you going to promote it? Promote not only the product itself, but how you're going to promote and communicate the USPs of the product. How are you going to communicate the benefits of using the product? And what is the value proposition that the product is bringing to the consumer? And you need to communicate all this very clearly. And of course, on the larger picture, for before finalizing your business strategy, you need to have in place a value proposition for the entire company. Now, we've talked of so many things, but as per my judgment, in order of importance, I think the most important thing is to make sure you have the adequate capabilities and resources. And here in resources, I also include the cash requirements. And the second thing that is important, critical for a business strategy, is to make sure that you keep in mind all the stakeholders. You have to be able to satisfy the desires, the wants, the expectations of every stakeholder, whether it's a customer, whether it's a vendor, whether it's your investors, whether it's your employees, whoever else are the stakeholders. So that is another second important thing to do. And the third important thing is, of course, that you price your product right, keeping in mind your profitability. You price the product right. You make sure that it is available in the right kind of stores, or on the net, it is easily searchable, and whatever else. The next strategy that you need to think of when building your company strategy is a marketing strategy. You need to have assessed the market, whether there is a demand for that product or not. You need to assess that the product and service is going to bring some value and it is going to be helpful to the users, and therefore they will buy it. You need to have a value proposition, as we just said, and you have to have your USPs of the product. What is the differentiator of your product compared to other similar products available in the market? And what is the pain point? What is the problem of the consumer that is solved? Most consumers will buy something where it solves some of their pain points. And then, of course, as I said, the place, which are the standard place, price, product, all of those things you need to do. So what is the way you're going to price it? What is the way you're going to put it? How are you going to promote it? And what at the end is your product with the USPs and everything? And make sure that there's a very easy pre-buying, the buying process, and especially the post-sale process as far as the consumer is concerned. Most great brands, most strategies fail in the long run because of poor service after sales. Let's not get into that trap. Okay. The third strategy you need to build is a product strategy. What is the product you're offering? What does the consumer desire that product? Is it going to help the consumer to solve some challenge that they have? And of course, these are the triggers that will help the consumer to buy. If it solves a certain pain point of the consumer, trust me, the consumer is going to come and buy you and try you out. And then if your product is good and the service is good, they become your fans. And then that word of mouth is going to be your biggest promotion. But at the same time, when you are introducing a new product, there are fears that a consumer has because he's not aware of what that product will do for him and whether it is going to really work as you are saying it well. So these beliefs, and these are beliefs which you can't change very easily. So you need to be innovative and find out some method by which you will make these fears disappear. I don't know. One of the things that just comes to mind is, okay, do you think you can do something like a trial? Keep some products which are out there, like, you know, how you can test drive a car before buying it or something like that. I don't know. What is the price at which you're going to offer that product? And what are the commercial terms as far as returns and exchange is concerned? In today's world, we don't care about who started it, but returns and exchanges have become a requirement. Now it's not really a marketing strategy anymore. So it is a product strategy where we talk of returns. And as I said, what is the method of sale and distribution? Where are you going to put it online, on the brick and mortar stores? And what is the velocity and your capability to deliver? In today's world, where everybody wants everything the next day, are you capable of manufacturing the product and stocking it? Or if you are customizing it, what is going to be the speed, the velocity with which you will deliver? Okay, and what is your capability to deliver? Naturally, if your product to customize is going to take 30 days, I doubt if there are too many people who are going to order from you and wait for that long. So all these things are a part of your product strategy, and you need to make a product strategy before it. The next you need to do So is going to be building a service strategy. Now you'll wonder why I'm talking of each of these strategies separately, because each of these strategies combined is going to be what your company strategy is going to be all about. So coming to the next thing, you need to create and develop a service strategy. What is the service strategy? What are the triggers and behaviors of your consumer when it comes to the services they want? Whether it is pre-buying, during the buying process, or post-buying. So what are the triggers and behaviors that are going to be existent when you want to offer service? What is the service process itself? Very often the service process is so complicated that it becomes frustrating for somebody if they have challenges with you. And you have to make sure that this entire process gives the customer a differentiated journey from what the others are offering, especially in your category, in the space in which your product is. This differentiator and how well you manage it, as I said in, I think, my previous episode, how much are you willing to sacrifice to make sure that that differentiator remains a differentiator? That's something special. So you make sure that that differentiator is something that the customer is going to really enjoy. And what are other service offerings? Like I know with my car, when my car goes for service or repairs, the garage gives me another car to use till my car gets done. And not everybody can do it, and not all garages do it. I know that. In the same way, it's not possible for every product. Okay, like, I mean, I can't think of a product where it's not possible. Let's take a phone, for example. Okay, I don't think when my phone goes for repairs, that guy is going to offer me another phone by transferring all the data. And I'm not sure even I want it, because when I return the phone, if it doesn't get erased properly, all my data is shared, do I want it? So you have to look at all this depending on your product category, what is the space that you are in, what is the kind of product that you are in, and all of those things will make a difference. So all your service offerings. But I'm sure even for a phone, there is some way in which you can come out with some suggestion or some kind of an innovative idea on how to make sure that your consumer is not left high and dry if something goes wrong with your product. I really don't know yet, but that's something that you will have to. Very, very important is that you need to have an innovation strategy. Innovate or perish, as I always say. But if you're not constantly innovating, if you're not constantly improving your product, you are going to be left behind. Okay, and as I've said at other times, if you're standing still, even if you're the first in the line, and if you're not moving forward at all, that standing still is equivalent to going a step back. And why is that? Because the rest of the people are not going to stand still. Your competitors are not going to stand still. They are going to keep improving, keep this thing. Very soon they'll overtake you. And not only will they become number one, there might be many people who will overtake you. So you need to make sure that you are constantly innovating in every aspect, not only in the product you are offering, but in the services that you're offering. Okay. Also, you need to innovate on your profit models. See, today there are standard profit models. Okay. But there are ways in which you can innovate so that your profit becomes better and more consistent and regular. A lot of times I've seen that the profit is there, but it is periodic. Okay. You have to do something so that that profit and the cash flow remains there all 365 days of the year. You need to innovate on the user experience, as I said. Okay. You need to make sure that that guy gets a different experience, which is enjoyable. So once you think or you've planned a different user experience, a different path for the user when he uses your product, make sure that you do a test to ensure that it is something that is better than what you were previously offering and what the competition is offering. So you need to innovate on the user experience. You need to innovate on the product offerings. Okay, so all of these things, product offerings, it's not only about sales, there's so many different things one can do. And I can think of so many things. I've advised so many people on different ways of doing it, which was not being done in their industry. Okay, and it is helping. Let me give you an example. Somebody who was doing upcycling. Okay, the problem always is that when you're upcycling, you're not sure that you're getting the right product. But how about if that upcycling product becomes a pay as you use? Then that guy is not worried as long as it is being serviced by you. And then if the service option says that, okay, if your thing fails, I will give you another, say, air conditioner till your thing gets repaired and sorted out. So you need to innovate on all this. When you're creating a company, when you're running a company, when you're creating a team, especially if you're a startup, you need a very sound HR strategy. Why? Because right from the time of interview to the time that they are with you, you need to make sure that they are growing, because if they grow, the company is going to grow. Make sure that they are happy and make sure that they are getting the benefits and rewards that one would expect as they grow. So right from recruiting, I was talking to somebody, a friend of mine with whom I worked before, and he's had a startup and he has this problem of people not really living up to the culture or adjusting to the culture as such. And while talking to him, I realized that he does not have an onboarding process. Now, if you employ somebody during the interview, you're not going to tell him everything about your company. And therefore, if you don't have an onboarding, it can be a short process. It doesn't have to be 2 days long, 3 days long, like in some companies. If required, yes, let it be 2 days long, orientation, so to say. But that onboarding process has to be there where he's informed formally after joining about the company's values, about the company's ethics, about the company's principles, everything about the culture, how people talk to each other, how people address each other. I don't want somebody in my office coming and telling me all the time, Mr. Shah, Mr. Shah, Mr. Shah. No. So you need to inform them about all this. So that's a part of onboarding. Okay, then you need to make sure that they get the benefits, the rewards, the recognition, and compensation as deserved, depending on the work that they do. Recognition, especially, is important because a lot of times I've seen that it's not money that drives people to do well, it's recognition, and make that recognition public. Okay, make sure that they're continuously trained, that you have an L&D division which works all the time. You don't have to have in-house people doing it. Get people, get consultants to talk to them on various topics. Get speakers, but make sure that they are continuously trained, not only as far as the business is concerned, but even for improvement in their personal lives. And you have a systematic process of evaluation. And you have a culture and make sure that you communicate well within the company. These are the things that you need to do to build a great strategy. Think about it. Send me your comments as you usually do. As I have said before, strategy plays a very crucial role in a firm's growth, in the firm's competitiveness, and at the end of the day, in the firm's success. Strategy also includes and offers a roadmap for decision-making, resource providing, resource allocation, and adaptation to transforming variables that are there all the time. And this ensures that the firm stays agile, it stays focused, and it is well prepared in advance to achieve the goals in spite of the changing variables. Having said this, mull over it. Do get back to me if you have any questions, and we shall next time continue to talk about building a strategy, but how to vet your strategy. So looking forward to speaking to you next time. Thank you. Have a great day.